Right, guys, and welcome to another episode of SESL TV. I'm your host, Dale Taylor, and joined with me tonight is Lee Belton from the Sharks, GM, and Ned Weideman from the Pacers. Thanks for joining me, Nancy and Lee.
No worries at all.
Guys, another decent round of basketball on the cards.
Definitely.
Some really good games, and our first overtime game, or second overtime game, I believe, for Elite.
Yeah, that's, we'll touch on that later, but that I think is the game of the season this far.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get right into it, shall we? So, first game on the cards was your Pacers actually taking on your Sharks, and it was the Pacers getting up 65-54.
Yeah.
Lee, another loss on the card.
Yeah, it's just struggling at the moment as a team. Things have changed over the last few weeks, and we're just trying to get it all together. It's such a hard thing to do when it's on a short amount of time, but we're grinding away, having lots of fun, I guess.
Well, you seem like you've brought in some talent through trades and replacing injured players, but it hasn't really translated to W's just yet.
Oh, we had the one, but yeah, besides that, and like I said, it's just really been hard to bring guys in, and when people's uniforms don't fit other people's uniforms, bringing old uniforms in, it's tough. But no excuses. At the end of the day, we do have to improve, and we're on the relegation station going towards domestic league, but we'll pick it up. There's no worry about that. We're not stressing. But,
and Norman, your Pacers, another win.
Yeah, this is probably one of our closer games we've had since our first loss. They pushed us for most of the game, but towards the end we were able to pull away late. Trent Lee was massive. He had backed up his player of the week performance with 19 and 5. Lee played really well as well with 17 and 8. So I think they're heading towards the right way, but not this week, unfortunately.
Well, certainly securing your place up the top of the ladder there. You'd be first or second, surely.
Yeah,
first.
Tied first, actually, with the Silverbacks.
Yeah.
We have the same record, but we've got them on percentage.
Yeah. And this is sort of starting to take shape as the season goes on. It seems to be you and the Silverbacks sort of really leading the front of the ladder, and sort of teams jostling for third and fourth for finals.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see who can fill in with that fourth spot. I think the Vikings will control third. But by the looks of things, we've got the Pirates, Dragons and Hornets all pushing for that last spot.
Well, let's touch on the stats. We've got yourself with 23 and 12 boards, and no assists. Do you pass the ball? Is that part of your plan?
Nah, not really. We've got Cody and we've got other guys that can move the ball for us. We need someone to shoot.
So you're the end of the line.
That's it.
Oh, good. Other performers, we had Nathan Malloy. We haven't seen too much of him this season. 13, 6, 3. Did pretty well for you guys.
Yeah, I think where big things will happen as he heads back to Waverley to start youth champ his season. I think once he gets into a bit of form, I think he's going to become one of the best players in the league. He's really talented.
He was on fire too early. I think he had 6-8 points to start off the game, and they're just so deep. You can't stop them all, but
they do have a deep roster, don't they?
It doesn't get much deeper than that, I don't think. Across the line, you got Simo shooting at 50% for the year. Even Bailey Beck coming out, didn't score but did everything else. Had the rebounds, steals, assists, no blocks, but everyone's just playing their role in that team, and there's not much you can do at the moment. Yeah,
and on your team, Trent Lee leading from the front for the second week in the row. He did a ripper job with 19, 5 and 4, followed by yourself with 17 and 8. Only double-figure scorers, but some pretty even performances from the rest of the guys as well.
Yeah, for sure. We're just trying to, like I said before, we're just trying to work our way into the league, and we've got good looks. I don't know how many field goals we put up for the game, but we're really just trying to stick at it, get lots of shots up. We just don't defend like half of the teams in the league, but we just got to defend better. We knew coming in that they were the best offensive team in the league, nearly all over. We just didn't do our best.
Yeah, that's correct. They are a tough team to stop. And what do you think with the MVP race? Is it a 2-horse race, or what are your thoughts?
It's very close. You got Lark coming out doing his thing every single week. Man to my left, he's Mr. Consistent as well. But there's Paul Phillips. He's averaging over a double-double, and guys are just putting up big numbers in the leagues in its best state it's been since it started, I reckon. So
it should be a tight contested MVP race, I think.
Very close.
Well, let's move on to the next game. The next game we had the Officer Hornets taking on the new look Mustangs.
Refreshed. They look better, to say the least.
So we didn't get the win, 76-68. I came down and filled in for the Mustangs, and it looks like I'll be helping sort of manage that franchise for the rest of the season.
Looks like you've been working with the scorers because they've given you 8 assists for that game.
Well, yeah, it's 8 more than what you had, so...
For the year.
8 more passes.
No, terrific game. We were within 4 points, I think, but just couldn't get the job done. Some really big performances by Cal and Lewis coming up big, and it was just too much to stop in the end.
You guys only had 5 guys as well, and they had Lewis, Nola, elite shooters. Maybe not Lewis, I don't know that. I'll take that back. But elite scorers in this league with 5 guys, there's not much you can do. It's a fast-paced game for 40 minutes. When you only got 5 guys, I know we only had 6 this week, and we've struggled with numbers. You need them rotations in, and that's why Ned's team's on a roll, because they've got the guys coming in. But some big numbers coming from Big Melvin, Louis Newman, 17 and 10.
And a PB,
shooting.
1 assist.
1 assist, yeah. It does get a bit stuck. Like most people in this league, it does get stuck in the hands when it gets to people. But Cal, young fella coming up. Some good stat lines every week, bringing it out.
For me, the biggest glaring stat is 2 for 11 from Andrew Nola. As they try to make a push for finals, I think that individual stat there will be the reason they do or don't make it. If he's whacking 8 of them, they're one of the toughest teams to go.
Well, he can get hot. We've seen it a couple of times.
Very close, like right in my face.
Well, yeah, and Cal obviously backing up his Player of the Week performance a couple of weeks ago with 20 and 8. He just chewed us up. Noah playing some great D, as he always does.
We say that every week, but from memory, I think he's a real chance at Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Every week, he's doing his job and playing at a really high level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think the Hornets can make the finals from here?
I think they're in too deep a hole. I think they're a game behind. They're a game behind Pakenham, and I think Pakenham with Tilly now. I think if they can win the next couple of games, I think the Hornets are done.
Yeah. Okay. What about you? You reckon
It's
they
a
can make
tough
it?
one. They didn't have Nathan Dodge. I'll be straight up. He's been straight poo this year. He had 1 good game. If he was firing, like I said, they had him, Nola, Lewis. Like they've got the guys, Jenko. They've got the shooters, but if they're not rolling, I don't think they'll be able to.
They've got a good roster.
They've got a good roster, but
Yeah.
if they don't get too many guys what's the word?
That.
If they don't get that, they're never gonna. No, they're not gonna make it.
Yeah. Okay. I reckon just a change of strategy will get us some wins. Maybe get Dodge some more shots.
Yeah.
I think he's been sort of averaging 6 or 8 shots a game. Pump that up to 15 and see what the result is against some of those tougher teams.
That'll come down to his physical fitness. A few big Saturday nights probably don't lead to the healthiest Dodge. So if he maybe has an early night, then we might see a better performance on that Sunday.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Next game was the game of the night and probably the game of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
It was the Silverbacks taking on the Vikings, and it was the Silverbacks getting up by just a point, 67-66. I left at half time. How did the rest of the game play out? Did you see it?
Look, the Vikings looked in control for most of the game, and then finally the Silverbacks really started to hit some shots, and again they controlled the glass, which was the biggest thing. And that's what sort of did it in the end. The second chance points, third chance points a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Were the reason they were to claw back from. I think it got to at least a 15-point deficit at one point.
Well, the Vikings did a great job to even stay in the game. I mean, they don't really have a traditional big to try and stop Paul Phillips, so they've done a ripping job aside from Paul Phillips grabbing 24 boards, they've done a good job to keep in that game, in my opinion.
I think that's a bit of an inflated stat, having 25 shots. A lot of those he shoots one, the Vikings didn't have anyone to box him out, so he grabbed another, and a lot of times he had 4 shots on possessions.
Yeah, so he's got 7 offensive rebounds, possibly all in the same play, maybe.
That could be, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Mike Godfrey, he went back to Super League Mike. He had 23 and 12, and
game.
he was looking pretty good in the first half, and obviously must have stepped up in the second half and did some damage as well.
Definitely. Unfortunately, he was the play in overtime that had the ball in his hands, and Reece Bourne was able to pick it loose and get the game-winning layup.
Yeah, okay. Baz. How's Baz?
Monster game.
17 and 14 rebounds.
14 boards.
What a monster. And
Out of nowhere too.
Yeah, like that's what round did he go in, do you know? He was late.
It was mid, yeah, either 4, 5 or 6.
Yeah, okay.
Just 3 rounds, so.
He's had a ripping game. Dill Larkin, another good game, 15 and 11.
He looked there, he had 15 and 11 on 6 from 20 shooting.
Bit of a hot take here. Being a body language doctor, I think Dill Larkin, there's a 1 in 10 chance he doesn't come back. He did not look happy. He was grumpy and shoulder slumped, and he was he was dunking and swinging on the ring, and then came down with no emotion. So it could be interesting to see if he's there for the remainder
Watch
of the
this
season.
space, you reckon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
okay.
Hot take.
Jeff Reed, another Jeff Reed game, 17, 11 and 4. Jackson Gray, 12 points, 4 boards. And Nick Lang, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists and 6 steals.
Rondo, eat your heart out.
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah.
Absolutely cracking game from him. Where do the Silverbacks go from here? Can they finish on top? I won't ask you.
It's a tough one. I haven't seen their fixture, but if they keep performing the way they are, given Jeff and Paul their looks, they're going to be the team to beat. I reckon behind maybe just Ned's team. But besides that, it's going to be one hell of a final series. Let me say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got them coming up again, don't you?
Yeah, so we have him in a fortnight's time, which I'm not playing. I'm away, so that'll be big in terms of the standings.
Yeah, okay.
So that means Pacers will be able to move the ball more than 3 passes around the 3-point line. So that'll be okay. So
they get rid of one black hole, and they can see what they can work with. All right. Well, let's move on to the final game of the night. It was the Dragons taking on the Pirates, and the Pirates getting up by just 2 points, 68-70. And it looks like Ethan Marshall shot the lights out.
Big time. 4 for 6 from 3. I think he did that the week before as well, so he's really starting to develop some consistency. 28 points is massive, and for them with no Tilly.
Yeah,
no Tilly.
Yeah, he's someone that certainly stepped up, and Toppy had another good game, 17 and 9, as he always does. We always seem to mention his name here on the show. Ben Brain back at it, 14 and 4.
Yeah, I think was that the fella that lit us up in the second half, or was?
Well, he went for 25, I think, at one point.
Us. Yeah, but him, Ben Brain, James Top, just doing James Top. He's been doing it for the last 15 years in the league, doing this league, Big V. He's been doing it forever, and he's ageless. Yeah.
On the other side, we had Casey Wasilko leading from the front again, 22 and 5. I think we've maybe made a mistake on the Better Wasilko brother here, because
I think so.
He's absolutely making a mockery of us over the last couple of weeks. 22 and 5, ripping game, shooting the ball 9 from 13.
Sufficient.
Burko with a double-double, 10 points, 12 boards.
Good to see. I think he's watching. It's good to see he got 12 rebounds after his poor performance last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to rebound from outside the key, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Matt Darcy, 11 points, 7 assists.
Again, I touched on this last week. They go as Matt Darcy goes. He controls them. If they get up and down,
he's their barometer.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're a weird one, the Dragons. They're about as deep as a puddle at Bunnings. They've got nothing outside of their 3 or 4 guys. They're another one. They're pushing for a final spot, and if Casey's not doing what Casey does, who's going to step up?
Yeah.
They got Darcy, shoots about as good as Robinson for OKC. You got Bodie, done nothing. Like they got a lot of nothing, but they've got the potential to slip in that 4th spot and do some damage. Hard to say.
Do you think they can sneak into that 4th spot?
Not so much.
It's a no from you.
It's a no from me, Eddie.
What about you, Nancy?
I think it's the Pirates. Another hot take though, is this team better without Tilly? Their record with Tilly is 1-2, just to double check, and they are 4-2 without Tilly.
Yeah, it's a good observation. I'd have to respectfully disagree, but only based on the fact that Tilly draws so much attention inside and he's such a big body. You have to double team him, like you said last week. But yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, when he comes back, if, Toppy plays a little bit worse when he's gone. There's less space on the court because there's obviously a big guy in the key. It'll be interesting to see if they can get that balance. I think I think they'll be the team in 4th spot if they can work it out with Tilly.
And they got Ben Brain shooting at 48% for the season.
Yeah, that's a fun fact, isn't it?
They got the inside-outside game, Ethan Marshall, Ben Brain. You got Toppy, and you got Till, and then you got old man Andre Cameron. I think they got the recipe. How good they are in the kitchen. Not sure. We'll find out soon.
Well, that pretty much wraps up the games. Let's talk steal of the draft this week, because we've talked about the MVP and the defensive player of the year a couple of weeks in a row now. What about steal of the draft?
For me, it comes down to 3 people. Firstly, Dylan Donnelly from my team. He's been excellent.
He's had a couple of really big nights and Player of the Week nominations.
That's it. And in hindsight, probably if people had known who he was, he would have gone maybe 3rd round. He's been excellent. Yeah. A lot of 20-point games. Secondly, Noah Christensen. He's been a really high-value pick.
Where was he in the draft?
I think he was 6th round.
Yeah, good value there.
Yeah, defensively, and in a league where there's not a lot of defence, that's been really important.
Well, he's the only Hornet that plays defence, so that's a saving grace for them.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you reckon for steal of the draft?
I'm going for I'm going for Bailey Beck. He's come in. He's on Ned's team, and he's not a scorer, and that's exactly what they don't need. They've got plenty of power, but he comes in and he clamps down guys. He had me for a bit on the weekend. I had 19, but he made everything tough. So I think for him to come in, he's the perfect role for Ned's team, and I reckon he's done higher than what everyone expected.
He was also the last pick of the draft, so that probably gives him a little bit more value in terms of steal.
Yeah.
The last person I was going to touch on was Nick Lang. He's been awesome for a team that's got Paul and Jeff and even guys like Reece and Jacko. You just need someone to distribute and play defense, and he's just fit that seamlessly.
He seems to be the glue guy for the teams that he's been in, and he does all the 1%ers and just what they need. And obviously the stats, he had a ripping game last week, but yeah, just does those 1%ers. What round did Casey Wasuko go?
He went 2nd round. He was quite early.
2nd round. Okay.
So that's probably about right value-wise.
Yeah.
He's been.
What about Ethan? Does he get a mention?
Yeah. So with Ethan, it wasn't so much a talent thing. It was in between the years. He's a bit of a hothead and interesting character. But by the looks of things, he's absolutely outperforming his draft selection. I think he was last round too. And he's been wonderful.
Yeah.
Was there 4 games left? 4 weeks left until finals?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep, 4 weeks left. We've obviously got this Sunday off with the long weekend, and then we're straight back into it through November, and through to finals.
It's going to be one hell of a run. You can tell Pirates 4-3, Dragons 3-4, Hornets 3-4. The floodgates are going to open, and things are really going to start shaping up.
It is heating up.
Every game's important. Depends how many times you've got Sharks for the rest of the season and how many wins you're going to get. But
well, you heard it here first. The Mustangs are going to finish on top of the Sharks. So there you go. And on that note, that wraps it up, guys. Thanks for joining me, Norman and Lee. We'll be back after this break with a word from our sponsors.
All the best.
Lonsdale Street Auto Electrics, proud sponsor of the Southeast Super League domestic competition. Located at 15 Park Drive in Dandenong, Marty Sanchez and the boys will be able to take care of all your auto electric needs. They have a wide range of services and systems on offer, including GPS tracking for your car, CCTV security systems, and more importantly, with summer just around the corner, they'll be able to sort out your car's air conditioning and get your car nice and cool in time for summer. So go down and see Lonsdale Street Auto Electrics, 15 Park Drive, Dandenong, proud sponsor of the Southeast Super League domestic competition.
All right, guys, we're back. South East Super League TV. I'm be hosting the girls' competition, and today I've got Abby from the Hornets and Mark, our guru statsman. Thanks for joining us, guys.
No problem.
We've been trying to get you on for a while, Ab, so thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
Now, we'll get into the first game. It was a pretty close one, actually, in comparison to how games have gone over the last couple of weeks. And it was the Koalas going down 49 to the Silverbacks 56. Mark, how did you see this one?
Well, once again, Steph Powell, 17 points. Really team effort, though. Chloe Mars had 12. Deary had 14 as well, so overall...
Spreading the points out a little bit.
Definite team effort. The Koalas worked hard. They are, I don't know what happened to them today. Keely held up. Keely kept it close for them. The better Patterson.
The better part, of course, yeah.
Cooch,
Well, that's a given.
Yeah, Cooch did well. Zemanik worked hard. Just wasn't their night, I guess.
And Abs, you've played against both these teams, obviously, and you know the girls quite well. Was this, do you think it was a one-sided affair with the Silverbacks, or do you think, the Koalas can really test these guys come, the back end of the season?
I don't think so. I think the Koalas have lost it. Like, they've lost 2 games in a row, and I don't think they're coming back from it, really.
You think it's on a downward spiral?
100%. I don't think any of their players put in any effort. Shannon was saying that her players don't move, so I think...
Yeah, she had a lot to say about her players in the game, didn't she?
She really does.
She didn't do much herself, though.
No.
I know, right?
Oh, well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they had a good run, for the first part of the season. I don't know if they're on a downward spiral, but I think if they're going to, get back on top, they really need to work together as a team, and that's something they probably didn't do tonight. But as for the Silverbacks, they're just constantly just getting it done, aren't they?
Yeah.
With Steph Powell rocking her new LeBrons, looking pretty good. There's not much else we can really say about those girls. Now, moving on to the second game, Mark, it was your Hornets, Abby, versus the Emerald Bears.
Close game?
Close game. Yeah, it was really close, actually. It was, 48 to 70?
Yeah, you're right. Very close.
What happened?
I just think we didn't play a really good game. I think that our shots weren't going in, and it was a bit of a fluke for the Bears this week. They have been playing all right lately, but tonight, I think it was their night tonight.
Yeah,
Luckily.
I think like pound for pound, it looked like DJ just tore you apart up and down the floor. You find that you struggle to play against her because she's so much better, or is it like what is it?
Her tiny feet. Like, you literally cannot get around it. Like, these little feet just you don't know where she's going, and sometimes she just
Yeah, she's a pretty handy player. And as far as the stats are concerned, Mark, is anyone that stands out in particular?
She stands out on the stats, but she stood out on court as well. Tanea Phillips had a ripper game tonight.
Yeah.
27 points.
27.
Five from 7 from 3-point range, and 12 boards as well.
Wow.
That's massive. That's triple-double territory.
pretty good.
A very nice game from her. Yeah.
And what about DJ? What does her stats line look like?
Just looking at hers now, she had 7 assists, which isn't too bad, and 14 points as well.
Yeah, okay. And they've really come together. I think initially the Bears were missing a few players here and there, and not able to get a team on the court.
And
so
credit to Jill Appleton for drafting the team that she did. How she ended up with Tanea and DJ?
Well, I think it might have been one of your mates on your team that actually drafted the team for Jill. Jill left some notes and someone else kind of helped her out while Jill was overseas. So I think it was 2 people in conjunction working together. But they've done really well, and I think personally the Bears are going to be the team to beat, even over the top of the Silverbacks.
100%.
They're just really strong. But moving on to the Hornets, any particular people that stand out there?
Surprisingly, Jamie Armstrong. Seemed like she had a quiet night. We didn't seem like we were calling her name much in that, but on here, 17 points.
Yeah, wow.
And just on the boards as well, I did say it before. So 3 assists, 3 boards as well. So, but the 17 points is really surprising.
Yeah, she's a quiet achiever. She just gets it done effectively. But what about Abs, Player of the Week last week? Has she backed it up this week?
Well, she had the 5 turnovers this week. 5 turnovers.
I think you might have got it wrong on the stats because I counted a few more.
Counted a few more. Yeah.
Come on, guys.
5 assists though.
5 assists. Yeah.
Not too bad. And a very for 2 points.
2 points, wow. How many shots were put up?
1 from 6.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, something definitely to work on there.
Definitely.
There, Abigail.
I had a really annoying player on me, and she didn't want to leave my side. She's a bit clingy.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Oh, I mean, it happens. As far as your team's concerned, like, you guys are struggling a little bit. You don't have your marquee player. You know, she never turned up.
Yeah, she didn't actually.
She didn't turn up at all. But outside of this particular game, you're in most of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're pretty close.
It's always 10. Always 10 points, I reckon. And it's just the last bit of the first half. We always let it go. And then we just never get it back.
Give it back. And is there anyone that, like, you think probably needs to stand up a little bit in your team? Anyone that you've got any concern for?
Well, finally, Kate actually has socks, so she could pull them up a little bit higher and actually do something. That'd be great.
Yeah.
No, she actually does really well. She got on the boards, didn't she?
She
she didn't do too bad. She had the 5 turnovers. Just to point that out.
It's a team effort. So.
But she had, I don't know who. I think it was Benny. It was on Sats tonight, wasn't he? He's got Kate down as 1 board.
There you go. That's
did
enough.
Did she score?
No. No.
Oh, she needs to work on that. Maybe if you bought her some socks.
No, sorry, she scored 2 points.
Yeah,
there you go.
She scored. Yeah.
There you go.
About as good as me.
I think the biggest thing for that game, though, and the difference maker was the Bears shot 47.6% as a team from the 3-point line.
Wow.
That's huge.
Beyond arc.
Yeah.
10 made threes compared to the Hornets 2.
Yeah.
That's 24 points right there.
Yeah. There's a difference in the game.
There's a difference in the game.
Yeah. So defend the perimeter. Well, I mean, that's kind of us wrapped up. You know, the games for this week. Abby, still the draft. Out of the 5 teams in the competition, is there anyone that kind of stands out for you that you think has done a really good job so far this season that maybe went a little bit later in the competition?
Well, obviously it would be DJ. She went in the second round.
Yeah, that's fair.
So she probably should have been first round. And probably Matilda for the Bears as well.
Yeah.
Like, she's been awesome, like, really good. She was a bit quiet at the start, but lately she's a standout player, I reckon. She's really good.
Yeah, I think for me, it has to be Kate Zemenick. She's just an absolute workhorse. She's fearless.
Yeah.
Like there's been a couple of times where, Steph Pals just massacred her, but she doesn't take a backward step and she just goes a bullet a gate.
Yeah,
so
she keeps going.
Yeah, she's one that stands out for me.
Where did Grace Watson go in the draft? Was she high?
Actually, she was pretty low. I think.
She was lower as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is still the draft for me right there.
Yeah. That's 100%. Yep.
A heap of them.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps us up for this round. Abigail, Susanna, thank you for coming in.
No problem, Tristan.
Great to have you here. And once again, Mark, thanks for all your support and well done.
Thank you.
We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Horn Industrial Coatings, official naming sponsor of the Southeast Super League. A family-run business with over 15 years' experience, Horn Industrial Coatings specialise in a range of epoxy flooring solutions for both commercial and industrial applications. There's no job too big or too small for Horn Industrial Coatings. If you've got a project at home that needs a flooring solution, reach out to Dean for some expert help with your flooring needs. Be it a workshop at home, a basketball court out in the backyard that needs surfacing, Horn Industrial Coatings have got your floor covered. For more information about Dean's wide range of flooring solutions, visit hornindustrialcoatings.com.au. Proud naming sponsor of the Southeast Super League.
All right, guys, and we're back for the domestic section of our show. I'm now joined by Tristan.
Thank you, Dale.
Welcome back, Tristan.
Thank you.
And Reece, the GM from the Toucans. Thanks for joining us, Reece.
Thanks for having me, boys.
We appreciate you coming on, mate. And what another cracking round of basketball.
Oh, absolutely, mate. There's a really good couple of games that went on this week.
And Tristan, you've just got back from overseas, is that right?
Yes, I have, mate. Yeah, I've been away for a little bit.
A working holiday?
Yes, a working holiday. I went over with my business partner for 8 days.
Was there any work done?
There was a little bit, yep.
Okay.
There was, yep.
Oh, good. Well, it's good to have you back.
Thank you, mate.
Let's get straight into this week's games. The first game of the night was the Narnagoon Bulldogs taking on the Cardinia Crocs. And the Narnagoon Bulldogs smashing their way to their first win.
Yeah, I see that. That's huge.
It was about time as well. Like, they've played so good over the last couple of weeks. They
Yeah.
probably should have beaten us as well the week before.
I don't think they've been the worst team in the competition. Like, how many games have they lost by 4 or 5 points? Like, they're in every single game. I think maybe bar one, and then they've belted the Crocs in this one.
Yeah, and we've sort of been hyping up the Crocs a little bit as being, you know, one of a dangerous side, you know, potentially making finals and all the rest, and the Bulldogs have just come out and smashed them.
Yeah,
39-21 was the end score.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, 21 points for a game of basketball is horrendous.
They struggled to score the ball. No one scoring in double digits. Wyatt had a quiet night for Wyatt. He only put up 5 shots, 2 points. 10 rebounds, which is, you know, about what you expect from him. But
2 points. Wow.
Yeah, sort of struggled a little bit.
Game was really chippy as well. Like, it just looked like the Bulldogs got into the Crocs' head.
Yeah, okay.
Like, Alex bounced back from a shocking week the week before.
Well, a shocking season, really. Like he'll be the first to admit this, but he hasn't been playing the best basketball all season. I mean, last season he was the league's leading scorer, and last night he bounced back. He's come back into form with 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals.
Yeah, and 2 assists. Yeah, he's had and that were the stats lines we used to read out last season,
week to week. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, good to see him back. Nick Cooper, 11 points, the only other scorer in double digits, but shot the ball 0 from 8
from the 3-point line. I see that. And you look, Nick can shoot the 3 ball. You look at his scoring 11 points.
He's probably one of the, like, he's not someone you leave open. Like,
no,
you want to get out to him. So for him to go 0 from 8
and still knock 11
and still get 11 points is.
But 0 from 8, and they still won by 18 points. Like, I mean, that's crazy. Stu Baston.
Well, sorry,
game.
just to pull you up there, they've made 1 3-pointer for the game. Based off these stats, they've
Alex.
Oh, it was Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex 1 from 5.
So they've 1 from 17 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, it's nuts. Does this hurt the Crocs' chances of making the finals?
I think so. You know, without delving into the ladder too much, and which we'll touch on towards the end. But I think I think they're going to struggle from here.
Yeah, that was one game where they really needed to sort of secure the win.
Yeah, correct.
To help their chances at making it in the postseason.
It's a bit like us as well. Like we sort of had to win to sort of keep in touch with that top 4.
Well, it's not going to be impossible for them, but it's certainly going to hinge on other teams' results now, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Well, that's that game. Let's move on to the. The Crocs have the Koalas and the Toucans in the final 2 games. So they're both winnable games.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, we won't ask Reece what he thinks of the Toucans game, but certainly if you're Dan Stowe, you've got to be coming into those games thinking that you can win both of those.
The unfortunate thing for the Crocs now, though, is they've got to win, but they've got to rely on other teams losing.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't want to have to happen, come postseason.
Yeah. No, but good on the Bulldogs. We're proud of you for getting the first win, and hopefully it's not the last. Moving on to the next one. It was the Phillip Island Penguins smashing the Bayside Reapers 50-35. I don't really want to talk too much about the game, to be honest.
This was really tough to watch because, unfortunately, on your offensive end, you had no one to sort of help create for you. Like,
we did struggle to score the ball. We only had a couple of scorers in double figures, and it was really tough night on the offensive end. We saw a box and 1 defence get played, and on the penetration, there was certainly a lot of attention and a lot of bodies flying at us. So they made it really tough for us to score, and they did a great job defending the ball.
Well, they must have, because looking at our good mate Joshy Saunders, 4 from 23.
That's disgusting.
That is really bad. Josh, get in the gym, start shooting, mate. You're better than that.
Yeah, wow.
He'll be pretty disappointed with that. We're missing Hayden, my brother. He had an injured finger. He's out for probably the season. We're not really sure if he's going to be back if we make it to finals.
One of the most horrific finger injuries I've seen to date.
We'll put a picture in the comments on this video.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty awful injury, and he's probably going to be out for, I think, the remainder of the season and including finals. But we'll see.
Here's that. We talk about just to touch on Joshy for a minute. 4 from 23. What did you say? That was disgusting, and it was disgusting. But Josh finished with 10 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, and 4 steals.
Correct. It wasn't all bad, but his shooting was disgusting.
Imagine that he didn't shoot disgusting. Like, he could have had a real day out.
Sammy Nickel had 10 rebounds.
He was our second leading rebounder, and he's probably the shortest bloke in the competition behind yourself. Did a fantastic job of rebounding the ball. Same with Matty Eldred Tower. He was a big body inside, but unfortunately, there just wasn't that many rebounds to be had. They shot the ball at a really high percentage. Yep. Pat shot at 70% for the game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is probably the highest he's shot at through the season. He had an absolutely ripping game. Got himself a Player of the Week nomination.
Yep.
18 and 8. Liam Malcolm.
4 steals as well for him.
Yeah. He's had a cracking game. Liam Malcolm, another good game. 11, 6, 4, and played a ripping job on defence all night.
Okay.
And aside from that, it was a pretty well-rounded effort from the guys. Adam Edgecombe had a big facial. There's a photo of it. We'll put that in the comments as well. He's got a hand in his face, can't even see the bucket. He still made it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He's going to be very important to that team come finals time if they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hot Sauce, 7 points.
He was hot from the beginning. Like, I think he had maybe their first 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, we don't like that, but every other week we like it, but not last night. Not so much. So, do you think the Penguins, they're a lock now for the finals?
I think so. I mean, they've got 4th spot on percentage. To I think your guys, Reece, you stuck in 5th. But I think they're good enough to lock in. I think they lock in 3rd. Yeah, well, we've got the bye coming up, so we've got the Ducks. The Reapers have got the Ducks and a bye. The Penguins have got the Tornadoes and the Wizards. Again, if you're the Penguins, you've got to be coming into that game, both of those games, thinking that they're very winnable games. So I personally say they're a lock on probably that 3rd spot. Yeah, I agree.
I think they're a lock. They should be a lock, but stranger things have happened.
Well, that's right. I mean, you saw that Bulldogs game. Anything can happen in Super League, so you never know. But that's what I reckon. They'll finish the season strong as they should. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let's move on to the next one, shall we? And it was the Harkaway Toucans taking on the Tynong Tornadoes, who were without their captain, Joel Donnelly. The Toucans ended up winning the game 51-46, but it wasn't looking all roses for you the whole game, was it?
No, definitely not. Like, I think at halftime they were up by 6 or 8 points. It wasn't looking good for us. They played so well. Like, they moved the ball, not like anything I've seen them do all season. It was a completely different team.
Did they catch you off guard? With Joel being out, the whole playing style is going to be a little bit different. Did that sort of throw you guys off a little bit?
I think a little bit, because Joel takes a lot of shots. But I also think there was a lot of unknown to the way they were playing, in a sense. Is like we'd set up to defend Joel taking a fair few shots. But yeah, like Will Cole came out guns blazing. He lit us up in that first half, like absolutely went off.
Yeah, well, he's finished with 9, 7 and 3 steals, and a good shot in the arm for points.
Yeah,
obviously.
Scott Elliott played really well as well. Like,
Jimmy Bucket's nearly getting a double-double, had 12 and 9.
He's a terrific rebounder for that mid-sized player.
Yeah.
And really hustles hard, puts his teeth on the line every week.
Yeah, there was a reason why I was chasing him all season for a trade, but Joel wouldn't give him up.
Yeah, no, for good reason, I suppose. If you look at Jeremy Hunter was traded from the Reapers to the Tornadoes. He's sort of expanded his game a bit there and finally starting to show some form.
He played a really good game. Played a really good game.
Yeah, he's finished with 11 and 3 rebounds, and really sort of looked dangerous at times for the Tornadoes, I thought.
And moving over to the Toucans, what was the take out of the game for you?
Well, for me, it was Michael Stewart was the X factor. I mean, he's
20 and 12.
He's sort of been coming. He's been on and off attending games, but now that he's here, he's the tallest player on the court. He's so hard to stop. He doesn't get any shorter later on in the game. He's got 20 points, 12 rebounds, and just a big part in that win.
He was huge for us down the stretch as well. Like, they could not stop him on the offensive boards.
Yeah. He runs the floor really well for a big as well. Traditionally from domestic bigs, they're big, solid, lumps in the middle of the key. But this guy's really agile and lighter, and he just runs the floor really well. I think that's a big key.
He says he has 12 rebounds. I reckon he probably could add more.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of times he just get it, put it back, miss, grab, miss.
Yeah.
Well, he's gone 10 from 18 from the field. The other good performance was yourself, Reece, with 15, 4 and 2 assists, but 3 from 8 from 3-point line. It's hardly 100%, but I mean,
I had to cool off sometime, I guess.
You've been shooting the ball like at a really high clip and leading the league in 3-point percentage. I think that's starting to taper off now, hopefully. for the rest of the teams that you're playing, but
I hope not. I really hope not.
But yeah, absolutely cracking, leading the league in 3-point percentage. Spezza, he's finished with a double-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds, but he's gone 2 from 17, which is disgusting.
He was 100% from the foul line, though. So
I mean, so he's got 5 and 6 free throws.
I'm gonna come in defence Bez a little bit. He does carry our offence.
Oh, absolutely.
He creates a lot for us.
He's got the load on him. Yeah, everyone has a bad shooting night, and normally people are the first to come up to me and say, "Geez, you shot really bad tonight." And so now this is my turn.
Yeah, true. It's 2 weeks in a row, Spez.
Sort it out, Nicholas.
I think you'll bounce back next week.
Oh yeah, I mean players like him don't have 2 bad weeks in a row, but for now, Spez, that's very disgusting. So let's talk a bit about your Toucans.
Yes, my Toucans.
Battling for the 4th spot, probably against our Reapers, I guess.
Yeah,
and potentially the Wizards.
Yeah, the Wizards have sort of just crept up there as the weeks have gone on.
Yeah, they're starting to round into form, but that was their next game actually. So why don't we? Oh, actually, no, that's not their next game. They're last.
You've just lied to everybody on the camera.
I do apologise. The next game was the Dandy Ducks blowing out the Emerald Bears 62-41. You hung around for the game. What did you see?
I was over in the first 10 minutes, unfortunately. The Ducks killed it as they have all season. Their transition game from defense to offense was flawless. Trav just carrying that defense with another 3 steals. He's my lock for Defensive Player of the Year.
He's had a really good season, but on both ends of the floor, to be honest.
We've had 11, 8, 6, 3. That's massive.
He seems to do those sort of things every week. He's one of those, we talked about Nick Lang earlier in the show being one of those glue guys. He is also that guy that does the 1%ers, but he's also your defensive anchor. Yeah,
he plays high intensity and he just works really hard.
They did smash it in transition last night, that's for sure. Flannery, he rocked up late to the game and probably struggled to settle in as they were already behind. He finished with
3 points.
3 points,
that's
5
very
boards.
James Flannery.
Yeah, uncharacteristic,
it's
but
a little gross, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to say about that. But
Stu Coleman did all right.
Stu Coleman, he had a very efficient game. 7 points, 13 boards, 5 steals, and 50% from the floor.
Good on Stu.
And he's chipped in a couple of those sort of games over the last few weeks, so starting to round into form for those guys, which is really good. Schmutter, 13 points, he top scored for the Bears, and was sort of their only shining light. Aside from Steve, actually, Steve had a ripping game with 9 points and 3 boards. When you play these Ducks, like surely everyone's expecting the transition game. You've got to get numbers back.
You are, but they're so quick that like we sort of controlled it in the first half when we played them. In the second half, you just couldn't. It's like they find another
running.
gear. They just keep going.
Joey and Kurt in particular are just so fit.
They are the heart and soul of that transition game.
Yeah.
It's always those two that seem to be out sort of dishing the ball to each other.
They combined for 35 last night. So what did they score? 62. They scored half their points.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the bulk of that would be on transition, you would think.
Yeah.
So my question is to you: how do you stop them if you do get the transition game? They still can score in the half court.
I think you've just got to forego your offensive rebounds and just get two or three numbers back to play deep. Otherwise, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Absolutely.
So for the Bears, where do they go from here? They've got 2 winnable games in the next 2, but is that enough to get them there?
I don't think so because they're currently on 3 wins. 4th and 5th are on 5 wins.
Yeah.
So
you're relying on the Penguins and the Toucans to lose their last couple.
And I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah. I sort of agree. Although they're a good chance to win those last 2 games against the Bulldogs and the Tornadoes. I just think that even if the world does fall apart for both the Penguins and the Toucans, I think maybe percentage might knock them off as well.
Yeah, well that's it because you've still got outside of those 2 teams, you've still got the Wizards and Crocs that have got 1 game and percentage on top of them. So I think their best option is just to enjoy it and run out the season as best they can. Yeah.
The Ducks finished to the finals. They've got the Reapers and the Matadors. Is that going to work in their favour, do you think? Like two top 4 sides they're playing before finals. Do you think that's going to sort of round up their game ready for finals time?
Well, I reckon I'm looking forward to watching them go up against the Matadors.
Yeah,
that's the last round. That's going to be a cracker.
I really want to see that. That's going to be a cracking game and probably potential grand final game.
A preview.
Yeah, definitely a preview. The Reapers, unfortunately, you're going to struggle to score against them.
Thanks, Reece.
Thank
you so much. We'll have our own game plan coming into the game, and hopefully we can manage to chuck up some points if Josh isn't disgusting from the field. We'll see how that goes, but certainly going to have a workout.
You could get the boys down in practice, and the Reapers could roll into like a OKC offense where they just come off a heap of picks, a heap of screens, and have you put up 50 shots a game.
I said to myself that I was going to shoot more last night, and I just put up the same amount of shots as I normally do.
Just thinking about it got you tired.
I just think that I'm just bound to take the same amount of shots every week. It's just the way it is. All right, let's move on to the last game of the night, the Wednesday morning game. It was the Koalas getting done by the Wiz, 68-47, but this game was a whole lot closer for most of the game.
Yeah, okay. I missed this one.
I reckon this game only blew out in the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes.
Probably, the last 10 minutes it probably blew out. The Koalas, poor Trav, only had 4 players turn up.
They looked like they were going to struggle at the start of the game, but it was anything but. Jesse Henderson, their new recruit, he was absolutely boarding like a madman.
Yeah.
He's finished with 18 points and 26 rebounds.
That's ridiculous.
So he was just grabbing every available rebound, and Beggy, he put up a world record 9 from 29 shots, which was enough to finish with 21 points. So good effort from him.
And he went off with...
That's probably the reason why it blew out in the last 5. I think he blew out a calf.
Oh, okay.
So he sat out the last, probably 5 minutes of the game.
That was the difference.
They had 3 players.
That's where the wheels fell off. But cracking game to watch. 4 against 5. It was really interesting. Wilson finishes with 23 rebounds. 24 rebounds.
24 rebounds.
22 points, 24 rebounds. Like, I don't think we've seen a game this season where we've got two rebounders in the 20s.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you look at that as well. So big Paulie Phillips from the elite competition, the Silverbacks, finished with 23 and 24.
Yeah.
And he's just finished with 22 and 24.
So
They're just big numbers.
Yeah.
Big numbers.
Absolutely crazy. So, I mean, standout there, obviously. Mitch Ryle, 7 and 7, decent effort from him, and Dil Minotti having a good game with 14 and 6 rebounds.
50% from the 3-point line.
He always shoots the ball fairly effectively, and 5 from 8 from the field. Always plays pretty effectively. He had a very pretty pink Band-Aid on for the game too.
Did he?
Yeah,
It was absolutely beautiful.
He had a nick on his nose, and we asked. He came to the front. He asked what colour Band-Aids we had. We said we've got green, we've got blue, we've got red, we've got pink, and he said, "I'll take the pink one."
Yeah. No, that's
It sums him up.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So
What about my old mate,
good on
Mortimer? How did he go?
Saw him jacking up a couple of threes. He's finished with 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists.
Yep. Good on him.
Yeah, another one of those 1%er guys.
Yeah.
Face of the franchise, obviously.
He
in
is.
Super League.
He is. Yeah.
Seem to talk about him a lot.
He had, I reckon he had probably 5 shots in the last maybe 30 seconds. Looking like he was trying to pad his stats just a little bit.
Get his quota.
Yeah. I think... and Kobe having a good game as well. 8 points, 3 rebounds.
Yeah, Cobes is building. Cobes is building. He's one to watch. I think that for them Wizards to make finals and sneak in, I think it falls a lot on Kobe running that point, and he's bloody capable of doing it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that, because the Wizards can make the finals from here.
Yeah.
They're currently sitting in 6th on 4 and 4.
They're only 1 game out.
Yeah, so they're 1 game behind. They face the Matadors and the Penguins. 2 very tough games.
Well, here's another interesting fact. They actually have a high percentage. So the 2 teams that are 4th and 5th with 1 game ahead of them, they have a high percentage in both those teams.
To get there, they've got to secure at least one of the next games, preferably 2.
Yep.
So they've got to beat the Matadors and the Penguins. 2 very tough asks.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know if they can get there, but
it's a very, very, very close competition.
But you know what? If the Wizards team that rocks up every second week, that bangs bodies and bullies people inside, rocks up, they'll make it.
Yeah, and they will do some damage while doing it. Yeah,
it's funny. They've been sort of the Jekyll and Hyde of the competition. You know, that one week they're fantastic, the next week they're not so good. So if they've got their stuff sorted out in the last couple of weeks, they're a smoky to make it for sure. I
agree with you.
Well, that pretty much wraps up this week's episode, and thank you guys for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure for coming down.
Yeah,
thank you.
Great to be back with you, Dale.
No, it's so good to have you back. I'm thrilled. So
yeah, that's good.
All right, guys. Thank you. That is the episode done. See you next week.